Let me ask you a question. What would your reaction be if let's just say a major celebrity said they'd come up with a new form of math, a new form of physics, a geometry that would change the way that people saw the world? What would you do if that same person said that they wanted to put up $25,000 to help develop a new kind of multi-rotor? I'll tell you what I would do. I would say, please come on my live stream and tell me more about that. We have a special guest, Terrence Howard, the actor, is how most of you probably know him, but I'm going to let him introduce himself, how he prefers to be introduced today.
I'm a crackhead. I don't know. I take a dropper and then 4 sprays, and this too.
Why do you do that?
It removes the parasites from your system.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. So I caught myself watching a video from a channel that I subscribe to that I watch fairly often, Dr. Angela Collier. She's pretty cool. She does physics. If you're not familiar with her channel, I recommend it. It's pretty popular. She introduced something which is a real thing called the Crackpot Index, which I'm surprised I didn't even know was a thing. But I did look it up. It's actually a method, kind of like a way of scoring a piece of work. This guy, Dr. John Baez, is actually in the math department. He's a math professor at University of California. This has been a thing. This was published like in the 1990s. And it's a way of like scoring how crazy or crackpot a certain theory is with respect to physics.
So that's what this basically is. It's your hustle and flow.
Such an idiot. 14. 10 points for each new term you invent and use properly without defining it. If you've been following the peer review, that happens all over his book. All over his book. Undefined terms. 15. 10 points for each statement along the lines of, I am not good at math, but my theory is conceptually right, so all I need is someone to express it in terms of equations.
I was not classically trained in geometry and all these things. We have learned to be able to fly. We've learned to be able to try and gain some understanding how the universe works, beyond an equation. The competition is more from a very selfish place, a narcissistic place. I know that I have a gift towards certain things, my gift wasn't in engineering. My gift wasn't in designing flight controllers. What I want is to build a team of super scientists, of super innovative individuals that can really help me.
And yet the team that you're going to build, these people are coming from traditional math and so forth. Everything that is being built on, multi-rotors, etc., are all built on that 1 × 1 = 1 basis. How can you build a solution that's going to sort of expose the world to 1 × 1 = 2, built on a 1 × 1 = 1 basis?
If I could chime in, I come from a traditional mathematics background. I have a degree in engineering physics. I've never told Terry, hey, I buy in and understand everything you're saying. Traditional math works very well for me. It helps me 3D print, helps me fly drones, helps me engineer cars at General Motors. It's a tool. Newtonian physics is an awesome tool. And when I was in high school learning Newtonian physics, it all worked. And I could calculate that when we dropped the ball off the roof of our school, we could calculate how long it's going to take to hit the ground, and the calculation was right, and it was incredible.
I mean, obviously, I'm also working from a 1 × 1 = 1 background, but I think there's various perspectives from which you could be drawn to this.
But I figured it would come more so from the heart and from the spirit. And later on, if we get the time, I'll say how these pictures initially came into my mind.
Number 16, 10 points for arguing that a well-established theory is only a theory, as if this were somehow a point against it.
Suggest that they don't exist is not only to get rid of that small theory, but also quite a lot of other huge laws of physics.
Are they laws or are they ideas of physics?
Well, why don't you respond to that and talk about how a lot of people have that sort of narrow mindset.
Number 17. 10 points for arguing that while a current, well-established theory predicts phenomena correctly, it doesn't explain why they occur or fails to provide a mechanism. Number 18. 10 points for each favorable comparison of yourself to Einstein, or claim that special or general relativity are fundamentally misguided without good evidence. I know that's in his book. Where is it? Comparing himself to Einstein. Where's his? He put like a couple of memes in here about Einstein. He's got a part in this book where he tries to claim that Einstein's like reading a copy of Walter Russell's book, even though it's clearly like you can't tell from the photo. Where's that? That was right here. Yeah, look. Einstein has it all figured out. Yeah, look, check it out. Like he says right here, he captions this. He's like, here's Einstein reading his copy of the Universal One. Because clearly in this photograph you can tell what book he's reading. And then he just copied and pasted this stuff over here. Then he makes up this story. He like totally makes up this story via meme. He puts it in his book as a meme, like in meme form. It's weird. And he's like, oh, well, this one dude knew Einstein. He was like, on his deathbed, he said that he wished he had read more Walter Russell. I think he also said that to Joe Rogan. And it's a completely made up story. It's completely false. It has been verified to be completely false. Number 19. 10 points for claiming that your work is on the cutting edge of a paradigm shift. Number 20, 20 points. See, now we're leveling up. 20 points for emailing me and complaining about this Crackpot Index. This is from the author. Or, here's a good one. Saying that it suppresses original thinkers. I feel like I've read that in the comment section or two. Terrence Howard's an original thinker. He thinks outside the box. Yeah, Terrence Howard couldn't even find the box if he wanted to. Or saying that I misspelled Einstein. In case you didn't notice, he intentionally misspelled it. All right, 21. 20 points for suggesting that you deserve a Nobel Prize. Has he done that?
You know why I patented it then? Because in 1926, a man named Walter Russell wrote a book called The Universal One, and in it he introduced an entirely new periodic table. And there he introduced the two heavy water elements, and then plutonium and deuterium. Both of those, all four of those elements that had never been discovered, he sent out to 800 different universities in his book. 2 years later, he watched as other people came and got Nobel Prizes for his work. Why? Because he didn't patent it. He didn't copyright it. So I copywrote all these things and patented all these things before bringing them to you. They are true, and I think there's some value to them. I don't know why I said that. Did I?
Terrence D. Howard. It says, for your brilliance, bravery, and tenacity to illuminate and challenge history and the systems of this world. From Straight Talk, Daphne. This is my award to you for the work you've already started and to encourage you to keep going.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Welcome.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say.
I couldn't give you a Nobel Peace Prize, but this is the closest I could get to it.
No, they are.
Yeah.
Well, it has begun.
22. 20 points for each favorable comparison of yourself to Newton, or claim that classical mechanics is fundamentally misguided without good evidence. He has definitely compared himself to Newton.
The things that make our math works, like if I said to you, what's 1 times 1? What'd you say, 1? It equals 1? Now, what would Newton say is that? Action times an action. That's a reaction, right?
23. 20 points for every use of science fiction works or myths as if they were fact.
the ability for structures to bond. And because we found the fractal source, the cause structure, it's able to make an unlimited number of bonds and work as a much larger structure. So everything that you saw in Transformers or Big Hero 6 and all the things that looked like they were science fiction, no, now there are science possible as a result of the linchpin. So the people that I'm looking out for is going to ultimately be in charge of $100 billion company. How can a male god produce a male son without a feminine deity? Mm-hmm. Where does that come from? Mm-hmm. You know, and the stories of Jewish folklore, why is it that black men who are not Jewish are getting circumcised? Why are we following their gods? Then I began asking serious questions. You know, if God had never caused it to rain until 6,000, 4,000 something years ago, had never caused it to rain on this earth. So what happened? It never rained during the times of the dinosaurs. Mm-hmm.
24. 20 points for defending yourself by bringing up real or imagined ridicule accorded to your past theories. Well, he did have his letter to the world in his book saying that, you know, he's being oppressed or whatever. Let's read this letter to the world. Dear world, I have been told by many that the releasing of this truth may cause certain challenges in my life. For there are many institutions that this truth will be viewed as disruptive to their system of profit and gains. I want to live a happy and peaceful life, and I pray for longevity. Not just for me, but for our entire species. Know that I would never harm myself, nor anyone else for that matter. A weird detail to put in there, I admit. Nevertheless, if my life has to face certain challenges so that this planet can be saved, please do not let these trials that I may have to face be in vain, and pray for me as I am praying for you. Sincerely, Terrence Howard, May 25th, 2019. 25. 20 points for naming something after yourself. Like the Evans field equation when your name happens to be Evans. So, let's see. Oh yeah, look. The Terrian wave field. The Terrian. Teriology. Tetratarian wave field. He named these after his children and his wife, I guess. Huntian, Mira, Aubrian. Heavenly, I don't know if one of his kids is named Heaven or not, but that might just be a religious thing. Let's see. 26. 20 points for talking about how great your theory is, but never actually explaining it. I think that's every interview with Terrence Howard ever. Perfect description. 27. 20 points for each use of the phrase hidebound reactionary. I don't think he's ever heard that phrase. 28. 20 points for each use of the phrase self-appointed defender of the orthodoxy. He does say religious stuff a lot. I don't think he's ever said that. Let me zoom out. 29. 30 points for suggesting that a famous figure secretly disbelieved in a theory which he or she publicly supported. For example, that Feynman was a closet opponent of special relativity, as deduced by reading between the lines in his freshman physics textbooks. Number 30. 30 points for suggesting that Einstein in his later years was groping his way towards the ideas that you now advocate. Wow, we just saw that. We just saw it. Let's bring that back up. Wow. Could that more perfectly describe what's going on here? Einstein in his later years was agreeing with Walter Russell, and guess what? My theory is based on Walter Russell. So, yeah, and by putting an in-between scientist, yep, he definitely did that. 31. 30 points for claiming that your theories were developed by an extraterrestrial civilization without good evidence. I think in his proof, pretty sure, the one he put on Twitter, he talks about the Anunnaki sky people. That would be an extraterrestrial civilization. 32. 30 points for allusions to a delay in your work while you spent time in an asylum. Or references to the psychiatrist who tried to talk you out of your theory. He hasn't done that specifically, but there is an interesting section in here, if I can find it. Okay, check it out. Look. Now tell me that you don't think this is weird. In more ways than usual. He says what was he talking about? Square root of 2? See, the square root of 2, being a rational number, it's borderline delusional. He said, if a psychiatrist were to give a clinical diagnosis for this number and this identity crisis that it's suffering from, it would be diagnosed with a schizoassociative disorder with acute hallucinations and delusions of grandeur, if it believes for one moment that it could have ever been the root of 2. Isn't that oddly specific? You know? Isn't that a little suspicious if a psychiatrist were to, theoretically say this number was insane? Here's the exact diagnosis.
A lot of actors end up with personality identity crisis and conflicts because you have so many characters you're playing. And if you really commit to the characters, you become like a piece of clothing. And your body becomes what they put on. And the character has a tendency of wanting to own you. They don't let go. What you saw in Anthony Hopkins and Hannibal Lecter, that monster lives in him.
33. 40 points for comparing those who argue against your ideas to Nazis, stormtroopers, or brown shirts. He has said that people that disagree with him, or he's kind of alluded to Jim Crow, remember? So he kind of is saying that like math is racist, I guess. So that might be similar to this whole Nazi argument, People that disagree with me are racist. That's pretty much what Terrence Howard says. 34. 40 points for claiming that the scientific establishment is engaged in a conspiracy to prevent your work from gaining its well-deserved fame or such like. Letter to the world. 35. Oh, and also that's those times on Joe Rogan when he was saying that like they were turning off his phone. 35. 40 points for comparing yourself to Galileo, suggesting that a modern-day Inquisition is hard at work on your case, and so on. He claims persecution a lot. Like these kind of go hand in hand. The conspiracy that people are persecuting him for his beliefs. Then he just he starts talking about other scientists that were oppressed, and he mentions Tesla, who, Tesla is widely regarded for alternating current and some other stuff. He did some kind of weird stuff, like that whole death ray. That was weird. But I don't know. Tesla was more of a mad inventor type. He was kind of a troll to the scientific community in a way, and to Thomas Edison, because they didn't like each other. Number 36. 40 points for claiming that when your theory is finally appreciated, present-day science will be seen for the sham it truly is. 30 more points for fantasizing about show trials in which scientists who mocked your theories will be forced to recant. What's interesting that he's done is not just that. He wants to destroy mankind. I think those were his words, right? He wanted to take all his ideas and destroy mankind. Let's play that.
I was really angry, and I was going to use all of the knowledge that I had, and I was going to destroy mankind. I was
oh my God, right out of Marvel.
I was I was about to, but then...
Well, I'm glad you didn't.
And the last one, 37. 50 points for claiming that you have a revolutionary theory, but giving no concrete testable predictions. And that, my friends, completely describes Terrence Howard's book. No testable predictions, nothing testable at all. I mean, he calls his stuff like a theory. It's not even a theory. You know, at least theories are testable. His is just complete conjecture, and I think a lot of his proofs are kind of like, you know, trust me, bro. And then he kind of bases a lot of his theories on vibes. So anyway, I thought this was really interesting. Stay tuned to the channel for more. If you liked the video, please give a like. If you enjoy the content, please subscribe. And other than that, yeah, well, take care of yourself, and we'll see you in the next one.